Hi, my name is Rachel Schuster, and this is my CoughDrop Reflection video. When I first logged on to CoughDrop and signed up, I was a little bit overwhelmed by the different choices. I wasn't sure where to start. So I picked one of the boards that were already a suggested board. I picked the Quick Core 60. So just kind of playing around with that, seeing how it worked. First, I was a little bit confused how to exit out of like speaker mode. I was trying to go back, and it was a little bit hard. Um, I also noticed that a few of the choices opened up a whole new board. So that would take some getting used to if I was using that to communicate. Definitely is helpful because when you pressed on the I or me, it went to things that would have to do about you so that you can communicate your basic needs that you need. Um, After continuing to look, I started to pick it up a little bit more. I was able to create my own board. So I created an intro board um, just to introduce myself. Um, Once I started, it was really easy. Just had to type in the label and I could choose any picture that worked for me. I could change the order so that it kind of made a sentence. At first, when I was practicing, I was just putting one word at a time, um, not realizing. So when it was like when I was speaking, it was very slow, like I am a. And then after fooling around with it a little bit more, I was able to make a whole entire sentence and then play it through so it spoke at like a normal speed of a sentence. Um, some of the words, if you put too many in a box, kind of go a little bit fast and you can't hear them necessarily. So trying to pick and choose how to group some things together so they could be you could understand. Um, um, it was kind of hard because once I started to make my intro board, as I like wanted to make a sentence, I realized that I already used some of the words. So it was a little bit hard at first to kind of once I start having to go back and trying to find like where an A or an N was. That's what I struggled with a little bit with that. Um, some things that I could see that students could struggle with using communication boards. Um, you need plenty of time to complete a sentence. So, being able to give them enough time if you're going to ask a question or anything, or if they're trying to respond, having a conversation may be a little bit slower than usual, just so that they can pick and choose what they want to say and then speak it all at once. Um, I can definitely imagine that there could be frustrations with that in the delay of time communicating. I thought about not if you don't have a command. So if you are nonverbal, how can you express what commands that you want on your board? That could possibly become a little bit frustrating if you don't have the word and you don't know how to tell someone how to put the word on there. Um, I kept bringing it back to the book that I started to read, the Out of My Mind book, how she wanted to communicate and was very frustrated when she couldn't communicate when she was at the grocery store and wanted to try to tell her mom that the blocks were dangerous. So she ended up throwing a fit. So I can imagine that if a student doesn't have a command that they want, that it could be very frustrating. Um, Technology wise, I thought it was pretty easy. Um, to use as long as you have like the board already open and just can easily press the ones that you want. I think that it'd be technology wise doesn't isn't very hard to use. Maybe creating it to make sure that you have the right board and order that's going to work for them would be a little bit difficult to try to communicate that. Um, I think one positive would be that they can definitely have some independence so they can communicate their needs and wants all through the board. I do have a little bit of experience with some students that use a board, totally nonverbal, and just use basic commands. A lot of times they have to be prompted to use their board. So maybe over time they'll become more independent, don't need prompts. Um, the one thing I did was I wasn't sure if for some of them, like to create a board or to create a any type of command if you needed like a Wi-Fi or if some of the apps and things if they did it without the use of Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi would complicate things a little bit more. I don't think you need Wi-Fi to use it all in general, but if you wanted to add something. Um, I definitely think that they can be very helpful. And once you kind of get it set up and start working, it will be a lot easier for them to communicate.